Failure sort of shows it's someone else's validation that you weren't quite ready for something else. And I know a lot of times we get like wrapped up into ourselves and we think, oh yeah, I'm totally qualified to do that. Oh yeah, I can totally do that. And then to have someone else say that, hey, or not necessarily to have someone else say, but to have someone else show that, you know, you need to take more steps to better yourself, or that you might not quite be fit for something yet, is really important in personal growth, because it shows you that there are ways that you can improve. There are ways that you can better yourself that you might not have otherwise realized. So failure itself really to me is a learning process, and I almost think that the best way to learn is through failure, or is through making a mistake. Like saying something, answering a question out loud in class and getting it wrong, you'll never get that question wrong again, because you've just been totally embarrassed. And failure is an embarrassment, dude. But it's sometimes it's what you need. In high school, actually, as a sophomore, I tried to apply for a prestigious summer program back where I'm from in Georgia, and yeah, it was the first time I really experienced a failure of a magnitude that really impacted my life. For one, I really thought I was going to get into the program, and I really wanted to get into the program. It was sort of like a dream of mine. But when I got rejected, I guess it sort of impacted my life in a good way, because I was able to learn from it and reapply again next year and actually get in. But at the time, it was really sad, yeah. I always say that one is my biggest failure, because I always see it as my first failure, my first major failure. I mean, obviously, I failed many times before, but the first failure that I really sort of put a lot of effort into achieving something and it not having worked out my way. And the first failure that really sort of made me have to learn to improve. And so I think that probably is my biggest failure to date. Not necessarily because it was like the biggest failure I've ever had, but because of the way it changed the way I saw failure, because of the way it changed how I approach, when I do something wrong the first time. I definitely do. I know none of us would like to admit it, but we definitely try to avoid situations where we might fail. And it's sort of the reason why we might be hesitant about things. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, that we avoid things because we don't want to fail. It stops us from doing a lot of stupid things too. Right. I mean, I think it's all about the attitude you have and the mindset you have. And I think that I've sort of carried this attitude that there's always going to be another opportunity. There's always going to be a brighter day ahead. And really the problem with people like failing something and taking it the wrong way is that they don't see the failure as a means to get better. They see the failure as sort of a dead end, a block, a stop to their life or to their future progress. And so you have to recognize that failure as something that you need to improve on. And so that's what I see it as. Is if I fail today, tomorrow, there's always a chance for me to get better. Always a chance for me to get better.